So, from one terrible, stupid story to Senator Bernard Sanders. Senator Bernard Sanders. I've reported on this last week. He is finally saying we should stop paying so Jeff Bezos could have more gold toilets. So the Walton family could have another yacht or two this year. So that the owners of McDonald's and Burger King and all these corporate stooge criminals, if you ask me, can hoard money. This is not even the Gilded Age anymore. This is above the Gilded Age, what we're seeing. Jeff Bezos is, I think it was something crazy, like $64,000 every 10 seconds this man is making. $260 million a day in stock. While his workers, a large portion of his workers, are on food stamps or Medicaid or other subsidies. And it goes with Walmart, it goes with Burger King, fast food. I remember when I was at the Young Turks, I interviewed a Burger King worker down in Alabama as they were fighting for minimum wage. Works at Burger King, she's on food stamps. And she works 40 hours, sometimes more. So Paul Ryan, Mr., the takers who are taking Medicare and taking Medicare and Social Security and food stamps and subsidized housing. These takers. Oh, by the way, we are close to 15,000 subscribers on this channel. We launched end of February, and we're almost at 15,000 subscribers in a very, very suppressed setting. YouTube has suppressed the hell out of us. Half the people don't even know when I'm live. So if you're not subscribed, what the hell's wrong with you, first of all? Secondly, if you're not subscribed, press the subscribe button. But as a gift to me and Jen, please tell your friends, tell your mother, tell the mailman, tell whoever. I don't care if your dog presses subscribe. Get us to 15,000. End of this week, I think we could do it. So let me play you a little bit of a real courageous person. Not these Trump officials who are anonymously, resisting for the benefit of the country. Let's play Bernard Sanders.
Today we have three people in America, the three wealthiest people, who own more wealth than the bottom 50%. And we have the absurd situation that 52% of all new income is going to the top 1%. And I think it is fair to say that the American people are tired of having to subsidize the wealthiest people in this country who are paying wages that are just so low that people can't get by. And let me just give you a few examples of what we are talking about. Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, is the wealthiest person on earth. I think, as I understand it, his wealth went up by $2 billion yesterday. Amazon had a good day. And he's worth about $168 billion. Not bad. Since the beginning of this year, his wealth has increased by about $260 million every single day. Meanwhile, Mr. Bezos continues to pay thousands of his Amazon employees wages that are so low that they must rely on food stamps, Medicaid, or subsidized housing in order to survive. Programs that are financed by the middle class of this country. According to a recent report from New Food Economy, 1 out of 3 Amazon workers in Arizona and 2,400 in Pennsylvania and Ohio need food stamps in order to feed their families. Further, according to a November 2016 study by the Institute for Local Self-Reliance, warehouse workers at Amazon are paid 9% less than the industry average for comparable work nationally. 18% less than average in Seattle, 19% less than average in Atlanta, and 22% less than average in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Last week, I asked Amazon workers to share their experiences with my office about wages and working conditions at Amazon. Many hundreds of them responded. And I want to very briefly share with you a very few of the responses. A former Amazon worker from Tennessee said, and I quote, I worked at Amazon for 5 months at $11 an hour as a full-time employee. I was on SNAP, that's the food stamp program, and had to live with my parents and my 3 children because I could not afford to find a safe location for my family. A current Amazon employee in Illinois said, and I quote, "I work 40 hours a week at $13.25 an hour. I have 2 kids to support. I receive $90 of food stamps. I don't make enough to eat lunch at work, so I split a protein shake between 2 meals to make sure my children eat," end of quote. Another Amazon worker said, quote, "When I started working for Amazon, my family was receiving welfare, such as food stamps and Medicaid. I'm still receiving those benefits because I make so little money, even though I work 40 hours a week." Former Amazon worker from North Carolina said, quote, "Been on food stamps the entire time I've been working in Amazon. Back-breaking labor, terrible pay, and even worse working conditions." In April, Amazon reported that half of its workforce makes less than $28,500 a year, about $13.60 an hour. Now, even that figure is misleading because it doesn't include an estimated 40% of Amazon's workforce who are employed through temporary staffing firms. As we speak, Integrity Staffing Solutions, Amazon's major temp agency, is posting a job, as we speak right now, on its website at Amazon's warehouse in Columbia, South Carolina, for, quote, up to $11.25 an hour. On this very same website, you can find job postings at Amazon for up to $12.25 in Phoenix, up to $12 an hour in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and up to $13.25 an hour in Middletown, Delaware. In other words, the wealthiest person in the world is advertising jobs that pay workers wages that are so low that they have to go on food stamps, Medicaid, or subsidized housing. And that's wrong, and that has got to change, and that's why Representative Connor and I are here today. But let me be very clear that this discussion is not just about Amazon and Jeff Bezos. The Walton family of Walmart is the wealthiest family in the country with a net worth of nearly $175 billion. One family owns more wealth than the bottom 40% of the American people. Meanwhile, just like Amazon, Walmart pays its workers wages that are so inadequate that many of them are forced to depend on public assistance in order to survive.
Bernie Sanders' criticism of Amazon peaked Wednesday as he and Congressman Ro Khanna introduced legislation to tax corporations for every dollar that their low-wage workers receive in government health care benefits or food stamps. The bill, pointedly called the Stop Bad Employers by Zeroing Out Subsidies, oh, I love this, or Bezos Act. So you see that? Stop Bad Employers by Zeroing Out Subsidies, or Bezos Act, is aimed at shaming companies like Amazon and Walmart, whose workers rely on public assistance. For months, Sanders has targeted Amazon, juxtaposing the wealth of CEO Bezos with reports that Amazon warehouse workers are paid less than industry averages and rely on food stamps. Bezos is the richest man in the world with a net worth of more than $168 billion. Quote, "Our legislation gives large, profitable employers a choice. Pay workers a living wage or pay for the public assistance programs their low-wage employees are forced to depend on," Sanders said of the proposed law. For example, if an Amazon worker received $2,000 in food stamps, Amazon would be taxed $2,000 to cover that cost. Amazon has previously called the Vermont Independent's claims about working conditions at its fulfillment centers inaccurate and misleading. So there's many reasons that this is incredible. But first, let's get out of the way the realities. This bill is not going anywhere. Bernie Sanders knows it's not going anywhere. You have a Trump extremist Republican Party. And frankly, if I'm keeping it real, if Barack Obama was president right now and you had both houses, Senate and the House, Democrat, I don't know if this bill would pass because the Democratic Party is just as in the tank for corporate welfare and corporations as the Republican Party. Again, the Democratic Party is the Republican Party light, and they'll allow women reproductive rights. They don't want to ban religions. They're a nicer version of the Republican Party. That's what the Democratic Party is. So let's not kid ourselves that this is going to get through. It's not. So just to put that out there. But why it is really brilliant, and I'm not saying this as somebody who personally supports Bernie Sanders. I'm open about that. I do. I'm saying this because it goes both ways. First of all, on one end, it is the morally right thing to do. It's also the economically. So you got morally, it's the right thing to do. Why in the world should 1 or 2 or 3 private business owners make hundreds of millions of dollars per day while their workers are on food stamps? Bernie talks about the moral economy. Well, this is the face of the immoral economy. So morally, it's right. On the second end, politically, it is unlosable. And I'll tell you why. The Republicans are all about getting rid of welfare. The Republicans are all about getting people off public assistance. The Republicans are all about going after Medicaid. The Republicans are all about going after food stamps. The Republicans are all about going after Social Security, Medicare, food stamps, Medicaid, subsidized housing, heat and gas subsidies, you name it, they want to get rid of it. Well, Bernie's giving them a way to do that. You say we need to reduce the reliance on the government, on Medicaid, on Medicare, on Social Security. Well, this is a perfect way. Let the Republicans, let Donald Trump, if it's Bernie first Trump, let them argue for not touching Jeff Bezos' money. Let them argue for not touching Bill Walton's money. Do you want to know why that wouldn't work? Because I've met the Trump voter in America. They don't like Jeff Bezos. They don't like Walmart hoarding money. You want to know why? Because a lot of them work at Walmart. That is why Trump and Bernie, the only crossover they had was economically, because Trump was serving up fake populism. Trump won. I covered 40 to 50 Trump rallies and events. Trump won largely on a message that he was going to take it to the corporate state. Remember, he used to go hardcore after Goldman Sachs at these rallies. The supporters ate it up. Because these Rust Belt supporters of Trump, they didn't like the bailouts in 2008. Hugely unpopular, even among Republican voters. They don't like Jeff Bezos or Amazon, the corporate welfare that go to these corporations, because I've spoken, this isn't anecdotal, it's not like I spoke with 3 people. I've spoken with tons of Republicans who are against this. This is no longer like the Bob Dole, Mitch McConnell Republican base. This is a base that on one end hates Mexicans and Muslims, but on the other end hates corporate welfare. That's really what the Republican base is now. Trump has convinced them that Mexicans and Muslims and the other is to blame, but they bought his populist message, which was a bunch of baloney, as we know. I'm looking for the term. It is a no-lose political position. If Bernie Sanders is on stage with Donald Trump, if Bernie Sanders is on stage with Mike Pence, who knows what's going to happen? Let Mr. Populist, President Trump, defend not taxing Amazon or Walmart or any of these companies the cost of their workers' food stamps. It makes perfect sense. And I think, honestly, that political cowardice, because Trump won't do it, because he's going to be taking from those donors. Trump could tweet against Amazon. Trump could tweet against the Waltons. Trump could tweet about, what's his face? He once tweeted against Sheldon Adelson and then took $30 million from him. Trump tweets, Trump says things, he doesn't mean any of it. He'll take the money faster than you could blink. I am telling you, and I said this before and I'll say it now, I think this was a missed opportunity against Hillary Clinton, going against corporate welfare. Bernie didn't talk about this specifically enough. He didn't have a message and a bill like he has now, but whatever, that's the past, this is now. This is a political winner. To win progressives, which he doesn't have to win, to win independents, which he did wildly well with in the Democratic primaries. He won almost every open primary state where independents can vote. And let me remind you, independents can vote for whoever they want in the general election. And this can win over Republican voters too. And I met a lot of Republican voters that if they did not vote for Donald Trump, Bernie was their man, second choice. And by the way, Jeff Bezos could say whatever the hell he wants. There is multiple reports from business media to progressive media pointing out the terrible working conditions, pointing out that Amazon wanted to put tracking bans on its workers to track productivity. Is this the Hunger Games now in America? And folks, I'm reminding you, I'm saying it one more time, this is a super chat. If you like what you're saying, and by the way, when we put out the GoFundMe next week, we're going to have a list of stories that we want to go cover. And unlike certain outlets, when we tell you what we're going to cover with the money, we're going to go do it. We're going to go cover those stories that we're asking you to help us get there. And one of those stories is going to Amazon country, going to factories, talking to workers. Even if we have to do it in silence and shadow their faces so that they don't lose their job. We are going to show you what Amazon is doing, because it's not just Amazon, it's the entire corporate welfare state. I told my parents, because my mother and father, they like Trump. They're good people, they're just misinformed. My mom was complaining about, why should I pay for somebody else's health care? I said, Mom, do you realize how much money you are paying so Jeff Bezos could have gold toilets? Do you realize how much money you're paying so the Waltons could have 25,000 houses and yachts? Welfare is a fraction of what you're paying compared to corporate welfare.